So here we are in a setting that probably 95% of all plumbers start with. And this is residential, new construction. This is where almost all plumbers learn their trade. This is where they get their feet wet, so to speak. Behind us, we actually have water pipes that come up for a bathroom. So you have the sink pipe here. This is a vent going up in a wall. This is another vent coming up, which is servicing where the toilet is going to go. And on the far side of the room, you can see there's a bathtub over there. A lot of people don't realize these vent pipes, if you look at roofs, you'll see that those vent pipes go up through the roof, actually allow the fixtures to drain properly. A lot of times people think you're just running the waste pipe to the sink, but that's not the case. The other big vent pipe over in the back that you can see is actually going to be the main stack going through the roof, and that is the vent for the city sewer where it runs out of the building. So the way the piping is laid out in this building, because this is a duplex, there's actually two separate sewer lines that come in and two separate water lines that come into the building. So each side of the building will have their own water and sewer service. The bathtub has a tub and shower valve that will be installed on the water lines coming in here. And one of the interesting things is code now, in a lot of old homes, you might see a two-handled valve. But the code now, all of the tub valves are single handle. And what it is a pressure balanced, temperature controlled valve. So if somebody in the home, say, turns on a clothes washer or flushes a toilet while someone else is actually in the bathtub, the pressure automatically regulates so the person doesn't get scalded in the bathtub. This is a code that probably went into effect 25 years ago. And it's something that as a plumbing contractor or as a plumber, you have to be aware of to meet the codes and stuff that are present in today's world. So the one thing that I'd like to impress on everyone is that plumbing is a much more important trade than most people realize. Plumbers are responsible for the sanitation and the health of the country. Just think of what would happen if you didn't have toilets, you didn't have potable drinking water. All these things fall under the trade of plumbing. And plumbers really are responsible for a lot more of the health in the country than what you realize. If you are conscious about the environment and you really want to make an impact, plumbing also has everything to do with that. It's got everything, you think about the sewage treatment plants that we work in. You think about the water treatment, how water is chlorinated before it gets to your faucet. All those things fall under the title of plumber, and plumbers are responsible for the health of the country. My name is Paul Murphy. I have been a plumbing contractor for over 40 years. I have taught night school for other plumbers. I started in the plumbing trade because my father, who was in the Navy, got his training in the Navy. When he came out, he worked for several contractors and then started his own business. At that point, I grew up with it. So that's how I became interested in doing the plumbing and heating work that he had done, and eventually took over the business that he started. We do a lot of residential work. Probably half of what we do is residential. The other half of our work is commercial work, which is where we are this morning. A lot of plumbers and pipe fitters, which is actually a separate trade, people don't realize, I hold a master plumber's license. I also hold a pipe fitter's license. The pipe fitter's license actually allows me to do larger commercial work like the boiler room that we're in this morning. We put a new boiler in here about a year ago. I also have an oil burner license, which is a separate license. And as you go through the process of becoming a plumbing contractor or a plumber, if you want to take up that type of a trade, there are many different branches that you can go into. So it really depends on what your interests are. Some people really enjoy doing new homes, that kind of thing, and they do residential work and they never leave that. For me, it was interesting. I do new homes, but I also do commercial work, which kind of breaks it up and it makes it interesting and keeps me interested in the trade, especially after 40 years of doing this. So this was a boiler that we put in last summer, and it's interesting because there's one sitting next to it that was here since probably about the 1950s, that the new one is so much smaller and so much more efficient than the old boiler. And we did it all. The oil burner, of course, would fall under my oil burner license. The big steam pipe, there's 6-inch steam pipes in here, which we had to tie in, which go to feed the building. And then there's also water, makeup water with a backflow preventer and all, which you need a plumbing license for. So in this particular instance, I really was required to have all 3 of those licenses just to do this job. And like I said, it's just, for me, that's interesting. The other thing I would like to tell people is, even though my dad was a plumber and I got into the trade through him, my mother and father decided that before they would let me come into the business, they wanted me to get at least a 2-year college degree. So I went to a community college that did technical school and got an associate's degree in power piping and HVAC work. So I don't actually maintain my refrigeration license anymore because I don't do it that often, but that is another license which I also had. So there's definitely so many different things. You know, when people think of plumbers, they think of somebody coming into their house and fixing a toilet or a faucet. But that's only the tip of the iceberg as far as where you might really want to take this with you. All right, we've moved to another part of the factory out here. And what you're about to see is a chiller unit. This place is a plastic mold shop where they do injection molding, and it generates a lot of heat. They generate the heat through melting the plastic, injecting it into the molds, and then the molds have to be cooled with chilled water. So what you're gonna see is all of the piping, the refrigeration, the pumps, the circulating pumps, that go throughout the entire factory, and what it's doing is chilling the plastic. So you're trying to balance the heat that you're generating with the cooling you have to provide to create the plastic parts. So what you see behind you is another part of plumbing. This whole area, some people that do plumbing work never see this kind of thing. Some people specialize in this. This is all they do. And it's very profitable for some people if you get into this and you get a reputation that you know how to set up these systems. It's really an interesting, for me at my age, very interesting part of plumbing and heating work that you won't normally see in other places.